recruitment has evolved over the years into niche spaces focusing on specific skills and industries. So as the landscape keeps changing, technology has emerged to help recruiters to become even more efficient than ever. All this is highlighted in an opinion piece titled "Integrating Digital is Critical for the Future of Recruitment," written by Natasha Addison, the General Manager of Sales at Qunu Staffing. To help us better understand this, Natasha joins us now via Zoom. Natasha, a very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome.
Good morning, Cynthia. Thank you for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure. Good to have you on the show this morning. First of all, why do you believe that integrating digital is critical for the future of recruitment?
Looking historically at the way we used to do things previously in historical years, where screening, matching of candidates was a very manual process, and a lot of that took a lot of time from recruiters in terms of finding the correct match. What technology is introducing us to is a more efficient way of sort of streamlining that process, to sort of align it more into the human capability, to give us more time to sort of find a culture fit. So it's definitely critical that we sort of embrace in those kind of spaces.
Let's talk about how having technology solutions in place can actually assist in making the manual recruitment process even more efficient.
So like I mentioned, in terms of screening, when we look at a conventional recruitment process, from receiving a job description from a client, then having to sort through our database, sort of matching a skill to the particular job description, that process can take plus minus 2 to 3 days before shortlisted candidates can be put forward.
Yeah.
How technology has sort of shortened that time is algorithms are based into the system where they're able to read and combat matching candidates to the job description that we're looking for. So it cuts down our time from plus minus 2-3 days to a matter of 2 to 3 minutes.
Is it? Wow. Now, how does introducing digital integration sort of become a crucial differentiator in finding the right candidates quickly, especially in this fast-paced digital world?
I think what the pandemic has taught us in PUA is that agility is key, and the future is here. I think when we look into how recruiters are used to doing things from a perspective of having a very mundane process in terms of finding the skill, there's a lot of things that could go wrong, or even shortlisted candidates that come through the system because there's no sort of correct matching, and there's nobody that can make that, sort of ascertain that part of the process. It could result in a longer extended period, whereas with technology, it has helped us to become more agile in a sense that we have now been able to combat getting shortlisted candidates and getting them in front of a client a lot quicker than what we historically used to do, where it would take us about 2 days before we get a CV out to a client due to internal processes.
Now, to help us better understand, Natasha, just take us through some of the steps that the digital integration can actually skip, in terms of making the whole recruitment process more efficient.
Okay, so just to give you a background in terms of how we look at receiving a job description from a client, it would then go through the process of our recruitment process where we do something called job matching. And this job matching entails where you actually get CVs, you match them to the requirement of that job description. That process, because it's a manual process, it could take you up to 2 to 3 days before you get a list of shortlisted candidates. By the time we make contact with these shortlisted candidates, half the time we find their availability, they're not available. That's when we probably have to go back to that process where we go through screening to shortlist candidates once again. By that point, we're looking at a good 4 days plus minus that we're looking at. And what we've seen in technology is that when an algorithm is built into a system where it imports a job description, it then reads matching skills, which would normally take us a lot longer to get to. So we get to put candidates in front of clients. We get to do pre-screening as well as video interviews before they even get shortlisted, or before we even enter into an interview stage. We're able to do video interviews that we can submit through to clients, and that saves us a lot of turnaround time, but also it supports the client in terms of getting that position filled within the shortest amount of time.
Now, Natasha, we've seen the growth of AI, that is artificial intelligence, which is threatening people's jobs, and people, are taking this AI with so much caution. But you say that there's no technology in recruitment that can replace people. What do you mean by this?
So the human element in terms of recruitment, we will never get away from. What we look at is that we want to leverage off technology that sort of improves the human capability. So it takes away the mundane task of the manual processes, retyping CVs, screening, matching, and gives us more time to cater to the culture fit that the client's looking for, being able to assess and give them a job matrix that might support their business. And what we've seen is that you cannot, by eliminating the human element, you won't be able to find that kind of human touch that companies come to us for, because that's something that we specialize in. So saving time gives us more time to service our clients better, but also to cater to our candidates so that we have a more integrated view of their future and where they're going. As we know, the future is here, and there are future jobs that we don't even know exist yet. And I think this gives us a lot more time to focus on those critical areas within our processes.
So why is it so important, in your view, for the best candidate to have a blend of both technology and human skills?
Looking at the future, and I think with the pandemic, we've seen that agility, like I mentioned, is quite key. When you're partnering with a recruitment company from a candidate perspective, it's quite key that you understand the dynamic of the kind of industries that they play in, particularly in the technology space. And coupling those two together, I'd say that, yes, we're looking at the future, but also having the kind of blended skill and the future of work. So looking at it more from an enhancement perspective rather than just separating the two.
Okay. So speak to us about the future of recruitment, where it is heading, and especially in the forever changing digital world, as it were.
Future of recruitment, definitely matching and having a combination, like I mentioned, leveraging of technology to enhance the human capability. I do see a lot of technology being implemented in different areas of our business for enhancement purposes. But I also think that when business sort of looks at a recruitment company, the benefit in partnering with a company that is sort of supporting and using technology to sort of eliminate mundane tasks, it's a benefit for the recruitment companies, because if you look at it from our space, a lot of times there's no transparency within our process. What technology does is it helps us get and combat those kind of challenges, which before weren't that transparent. So I think going forward, we want to lean more into the technology space, but also look at more innovative ways of how to partner with our clients and partner with our candidates to ultimately have that blended kind of approach to support the output.
All right. Natasha, great chatting to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Cynthia.
Indeed, thank you. That was Natasha Addison, and she's the General Manager of Sales at Qunu Staffing, and she joined us this morning for a discussion on her latest opinion piece titled Integrating Digital is Critical for the Future of Recruitment.